Hi.
Hi.
So we're back, and for those of you who don't know me, I am Jamie. This is Dr.
Cullyn Consales.
Well, the Dr. C from Integrative Health and Wellness. So we just log in every Wednesday at 5:30. We do some topics that we think are most interested. And sometimes you guys send us topics that you want to hear about, which we welcome all the time. So as you guys are watching this, if you have any questions, please send them to us. If we don't get to them now, then we'll just email them later.
Sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
If you do have any different ideas about some topics that you guys would like to learn more about, we would love to help you. And we're so excited that you guys are joining us. We always appreciate highs and likes and shares, and you can send us some hearts whenever he says something you really like. And so tonight we get to talk about fatigue.
Yes.
So this is really kind of cool. I get to do this with you because this is how our relationship started.
You were very fatigued?
I was very fatigued. So for any of you who don't know, I won't share all of my wonderful details, but you can check them out on YouTube on Integrative Health and Wellness when I interviewed him. But when I met you, I was really suffering with a thyroid issue. So I was so super exhausted. And I am happy to say that it's the day before Mother's Day of last year was the last day I took any support for my thyroid.
Good.
Because of you.
Well, great. That's good to hear.
Isn't that so cool?
Yeah.
And so it's super cool that I get to help, join him to help other people. So any questions you guys have, like I said, please share. We have some that already prepared to ask you. So we're going to start off with, like, what are some of the most common reasons you find people are fatigued?
So that's a good question. There are a lot of reasons, but we have, there can be specific organ dysfunction that could be the underlying cause of it. So thyroid and adrenal glands would be top glandular issues that could potentially lead to fatigue. And then we have poor diet. So if you're not feeding your body the fuel it needs to do its job, then you're not going to have any energy. And then we often find that the body is toxic in some way, shape, or form, and just can't unload the toxins. Whenever your cells are surrounded with toxins, they can't get the nutrients in that they need to function properly. So detoxification is often a major part of the process of restoring your energy.
So we had some feelers out there. You made a comment here in the office, and we did a little poll to see what people thought would be one of the causes for fatigue, which was, could you have fatigue from emotions and or parasites?
You can have them from both. It's interesting because I'd say about 60 to 70% of the patients that come in here actually have parasitic infections. And you have to remember that we have animal bodies and we're surrounded by animals, pets, dogs, we walk around barefoot sometimes. So, we eat things that can contain parasites. They affect us just the way that animals are affected. And they really sap our energy because a parasitic infection will take the nutrients from the intestinal tract or wherever it's at. It uses all of your energy up and then will not leave you with any energy. So basically it'll take all your nutrients, and primarily parasitic infections and other infections will feed off of sugar. So basically what they do is they decrease your blood sugar levels, making you more fatigued and making you crave sugar more. So a lot of times we find that there are chronic long-term infections going on with which a lot of people don't understand or know about. In the system, and once they're removed, you no longer crave sugar and you have your energy levels back. But emotions, that's an interesting one because, if you're emotionally depressed or in a constant state of being in a negative emotion like anger or anything like that, you actually, like attracts like in life. So if you are very negative and you're an angry person, you're going to attract more of that to you. And whenever you're surrounded by negative people, it's very draining if you haven't noticed. So try to clear up the way you think, and we have ways of helping you with that here as well too. But actually both can cause fatigue.
So Did you just say that you could get parasites from bare feet?
Yeah, walking around usually in the morning or before in the evening, parasites are most active, and really it's coming from animal feces. So watch that. You never know what little critters will run around in your yard. So they're around, and you can get the eggs that will actually pass through the feet into the skin and into the body.
So interesting enough, I have to say, gross, first of all, but it really does put a twist onto what you put on your body.
Yeah,
right?
What you put on your body is very important because that's absorbed. Your skin is an organ, so you want to be careful with what you actually put on your body as well.
So I know just because of what you and I've been through in treating my issues like with fatigue, a lot of times we as women, we put a lot of products on our skin that are like hormone disruptors, which can also cause a lot of fatigue, right?
Absolutely, yep.
I know, I'm so concerned with that with my teenagers because my daughters, I mean, their hormones are going crazy naturally, right? Like I don't want to...
You don't want to add to that.
Yes, it's awful.
Fuel for the fire.
Oh my goodness. So how do you know if you have a fatigue problem or if you're just simply tired?
That's a good question. I would say if you're getting appropriate amount of sleep, which for most people is going to be about 7 hours or so. You know, the younger you are, whenever you're growing and developing, you'll probably need more. Whenever you're older, you may need a little bit less, but on average, 7 hours of sleep. I need 8, so everyone needs a different amount. If I don't get 8 hours, then I feel tired, and that's just the way my body runs. But I would say, what was the question again?
So the question is, how do you know if you're just tired?
Yeah, so if you're getting that appropriate amount of sleep and you're doing all you can to eat healthy and reducing the processed foods because they're not going to provide your body with the energy and nutrients that it needs, and you're still fatigued, then you may want to get that checked out because there may be an underlying toxin that's difficult for your body to remove or infection going on.
So how do you test that?
So that's through, we're looking at how the immune system is functioning in the clinic here. So basically we're using your nervous system as a window into what's going on with your body. So by contacting different points or stimulating different nerves on the surface of your skin, we can actually wire in and link up to, say, your thymus gland, which is the center of your immune system, see how that's going and see how the nerves in the rest of the body respond to that. So it's a little bit of a different test, but it's non-invasive and it's very quick, efficient, and we've gotten pretty good at it over the years.
So I have to say, you know, just with my stuff, a lot of times people couldn't understand how you were treating me without a blood test. But I just wanted to let you guys know, like, I actually had a blood test, and Western medicine would not diagnose me with that blood test. Thankfully, you didn't need it.
With thyroid. Yeah, because, and sometimes, you know, blood tests aren't 100% accurate. And they're looking for more disease states. Of course, they're also looking at with certain, like if you do a full thyroid panel, you can see the function of the thyroid more completely. But really, they're not 100% accurate, and they're not going to give you a general picture of what's going on with the body because, you know, the thyroid is controlled by other organs, and if those other organs in the hormonal system aren't working properly, then that could lead to thyroid dysfunction. So the initial cause or priority may not have anything to do with the thyroid. It could be another organ that's not working right. And the communication is off between them.
So you mentioned that there were different, you know, you mentioned diet.
Yeah.
So if I have a good diet, or a poor diet, that could contribute to fatigue. So what are things that I should and should not be eating?
So I would eat foods that are high in vitamin B, because vitamin B, it's like, if you know what a 2-cycle engine is, it's like your weed whacker or, you know, any small engine. You need to add some oil in with the gas, right? And that's the fuel that you use. Well, in our bodies, with the fuel that we use, we need to add B vitamins to it because that's what, you have a process in the body called the citric acid cycle, which is like your energy process, or part of it. And it needs B vitamins to keep that cycle going. And so if you're lacking in B vitamins, then you're going to be energy deficient. So the foods that you want to eat that are highest in B vitamins would be liver, and I know a lot of you probably won't eat liver. You have beets and nutritional yeast, which is kind of like a flaky substance that you can get at the grocery store, and it tastes like cheese almost in a way. You could put it on your salads and in your soups and season with it. But it's very high in vitamin B. It won't give you a yeast infection or anything like that. Or you can supplement with it, and if you're going to supplement with it, you want one that's stemming from food, a B vitamin, a B complex coming from food, because they can actually produce B vitamins in a lab from tar. So like the same tar that you find on the road, you can get B vitamins, and then being that that's not a natural source and it's produced in a lab, it's synthetic, your body's not going to utilize it the way that it should be utilized. So if you want to help your, if you want to, things to avoid, you want to avoid sugar, because one, if you have an infection, it's going to feed the infection. But two, when you eat something that's sugary, your blood sugar is going to spike up, and then every time there's a spike, it's going to crash. And whenever you crash is whenever you're going to feel fatigued and tired and worn out, especially after lunch. That happens to a lot of people after lunch because they've eaten things that may be high in carbohydrates, so like breads, pastas, things like that. And then their blood sugar crashes and they're really tired in the afternoon after lunch. So eat something lighter for lunch to avoid that afternoon drop. But if you eat something that's more sustainable, a more sustainable source of energy like a fat, so a good quality oil like avocado oil, coconut oil, any of those guys will serve as a long-term source of fuel if you have that in the morning. So maybe bacon and eggs, good quality bacon, good quality eggs. You'll actually find that that'll make you last until lunch, and you won't be that hungry during lunch because your body's still feeding off of that fuel. Eat something lighter for lunch, and that'll take you into dinner time. So it's a more leveled out energy source, I guess you could say.
So how is coffee for an energy source?
Coffee, it's not all terribly bad. If you drink coffee and add a fat to it, you'll actually increase the amount of what are called ketones in your blood, which is fat for energy, which is a very good thing.
So are you talking about it's
bulletproof coffee? Yeah. So you don't have to buy their product. You can make it yourself. A lot of times if I need a boost, I'll drink coffee and put butter in it. So I'll do I love butter, so I put a big slab of butter in there, or any sort of oil, and it makes it taste a little bit better in my opinion. But you can do that. But the thing with coffee is if you have anxiety or high blood pressure, or your heart rate is up, that's going to elevate those even further. So you're going to want to avoid coffee in that regard. But it's still a drug, and your body can become dependent on it just like anything else. So you want to only use it when absolutely necessary, when you're in a pinch, I would say.
Well, I'm super glad to hear that we can have coffee.
I guess we can have coffee. Yeah.
I can have coffee. That makes me happy. Okay, so how about when we hear the word fatigue, we initially just think that means being tired or exhausted.
Yeah.
But I guess I want to know if fatigue can show up in different symptoms.
Well, it could actually show up in any sort of symptom. I guess you could say, we're talking about fatigue here as just feeling tired, but it can lead to brain fog, and it can lead. So if you are fatigued, there's some either the energy source is bad, like the fuel that you're feeding your body is bad, or it's unable to use that fuel properly. So, you may have a problem with your intestinal tract or digestion, but you can. If you're feeling tired in general, then you know that some organs aren't working the way they should. So fatigue can actually be a symptom, meaning that an organ system or two aren't functioning optimally, and they may need to be looked at and addressed. So you could have fatigue in an organ that's causing your generalized global fatigue.
Okay. And so I know a lot of people that suffer, say, from headaches.
Mm-hmm.
And is it can a headache be because I am fatigued?
That can go into the energy as well, because sometimes a B vitamin deficiency could lead to some headaches. So that again is a component to energy production that could lead to fatigue. So the body works as a system. Everything needs to be working optimally as best you can. you won't always get headaches when you're fatigued, but there could be a process that's related to fatigue that's going on in your body that's not quite right, that would need to be looked at.
So if I were feeling, if I were a person like I was suffering with fatigue, a chiropractor is not the first thoughts of where I would go to get help for this. So when you and Dr. Sarah Vivona just do a lot of different techniques other than back support.
Yeah.
Like most people would think chiropractors do, right? And so what are some things other than eating B vitamins that we could do to get more energy?
So, well, the B vitamins and the good quality fats and unprocessed foods, that's the main thing. But you'd want to get a proper examination for the thyroid and adrenal glands because, just maybe a few months ago, I was under a little bit more stress with a bunch of things going on in my life, and my adrenal glands became fatigued, and I was just completely wiped out because your adrenal glands are your stress hormone glands. So when you're under more stress, kind of wears them out, it keeps pounding at them, and then eventually they, are fatigued. We live pretty, highly stressful lives compared to what I believe humans are meant to live, and we just need some support. So just proper diagnostics on which organs aren't working properly, and then which nutrients that organ system needs to function the way it needs to function is imperative in my opinion for that.
Okay, and then I wanted to, one of the things that I love that you guys do that I have not known anybody else to do is that you guys really address emotional issues. And so I know, I'll speak for myself just because I can, right, is that I had a lot of issues from emotions that I didn't even know I was holding on to.
Yeah.
That you brought out to surface that helped get rid of that fatigue for me. And so I just really think it's important for you guys out there that are watching to understand that some of the techniques that are done here, it's just the coolest thing because you guys bring out some things that I would have never... I never would have thought, was holding me back or, that anybody else has ever done. So it's really cool. And that's the NET, right?
Yeah, NeuroEmotional Technique. So we have that, which basically emotions can affect you physically, and we've all felt that before. When we're upset, we have automatic tears, or we're excited, we have butterflies in our stomach. So there's a direct relationship between the emotional subconscious mind and how our body functions. So there can be things kind of like a broken record that's just playing around and round and round internally, and that broken record plays and we don't really realize it, and then it affects us physically. So we can see how the body responds to whether or not something is congruent with you, meaning that it matches the truth of you or what you truly believe. So it could be anger with someone from way back when that actually started to develop problems within your body, and we can look to see what that would be, and then which acupuncture meridian actually is linked to that emotion. So if you have anger, that's associated with the liver, or fear, it's typically associated with the kidneys. Those are just a couple of examples. So if you're like a very angry person, you can potentially develop a liver problem because of that emotion that's running and playing in your mind all the time, or vice versa. So if you have a liver problem, which was actually my issue whenever I was a teenager, you can actually have a lot of anger stemming from that, and it's not really you, it's not how you feel, but you just have outbursts of anger, and that's what would happen to me as a teenager. So it's something that we need, you need to address in almost everyone, just to kind of clear up and help someone out in that way. But that being said, if someone has that anger and their liver then is, the function of the liver is decreased, then because the liver is a detoxification organ, they're going to be more toxic, and then that could lead to fatigue because toxins are one of the number one causes of fatigue. Also, I forgot to mention that we do, in our classes, we give you a form that shows you how to properly do heart rate training. And this isn't like any sort of crazy aerobic exercise program or anything like that. It's actually very simple, and you'll actually be walking for a period of time, but the amount of time it takes you to get from point A to point B will be faster, and it's how I train a lot of my higher end athletes that will come in and do, you know, endurance racing. But essentially what you're doing is, we're back?
We're back.
All right. So when we train like this, the studies have actually shown that you increase the amount of mitochondria in your body by 154% after the first time you do this, and it's only about 20 minutes of training. And mitochondria are like the batteries in your cells. And the more batteries you have, the more energy you're going to have. And these batteries use fat for energy. So you're burning fat, you're using fat as a fuel, which is more sustainable, like we talked about. And you're getting exercise, which actually makes you feel really good, and it's not wearing you out and fatiguing you. So, and then they did, the studies then showed that after that, they increased by 110% the amount of mitochondria after like a 5-week period of time. So it's a slower rate, but still, you're increasing your potential to develop or create more energy, and then feeding your body a good fuel source like fat just adds icing on the cake.
Wow. So I love Dr. Cullyn and Dr. Sarah because they're so good at putting science behind what they do and just applying it, speaking it in a way in which I can comprehend it without a doctorate degree, which I don't have. So it's really a nice, nice relationship there. So I want to let you guys know on that note that Dr. Sarah Vivona right now is actually teaching a class that you guys teach every Wednesday.
Yep.
So while I'm with one of the doctors here on live for you guys, one of the other doctors is actually out in our foyer teaching a class on explaining what we do, how you guys do it, and scientifically why it works. Mm-hmm. So it's really nice because even though a lot of the techniques that you guys use are very unique and different, they really are science-based, and I absolutely love that. And so I want to welcome everybody. You guys are more than welcome always to attend our class on Wednesday nights. It's here at 5:30. It's free. We just ask that you sign up on our website so you can reserve your seat because we only have a limited space out there. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. And then if you guys wouldn't mind, please just let me know any questions that you have, any topics that you would like the doctors to discuss. And then we're going to have some fun the next 2 weeks.
What are we doing?
Putting you guys on the spot next 2 weeks. So, yes. So next week, we get to be live here, same time, same place, but we're going to have Dr. Sarah Vivona. And
so she goes first, whatever this is.
She's got the hot seat first.
Right.
Yeah, right. She's got the hot seat. So next week we're going to actually get to know a little bit about Dr. Sarah personally. Mm-hmm. So any questions that you guys might have, and then it's you the following week.
Okay.
So
I'm ready for it.
Yeah, so dig deep. Send me any questions that you guys would like to learn more about the doctors, and we'll see you then. Thanks for joining us.
All right, thank you. Hope this helps.